This video is going to show you how to grow oyster mushrooms on coffee chaff and straw in a bucket. We chose oyster mushrooms because they are easy to cultivate and grow on just about anything.
In your kit, you will find a bucket with spawn, coffee chaff, straw, paper towels, rubbing alcohol, and tape. If you do not have one of our kits, these are the materials you will need to follow along. The only other materials you will need are a large stock pot, tongs, and a clean surface.
Fill the stock pot 60% of the way with water. Bring the water to a boil. This step is important because there are billions of other fungi and bacteria floating in the air, and they can compete with the mushroom you are trying to grow. We are going to use boiling water to pasteurize our substrate, which will kill most of the competitive organisms.
Once the water is boiling, pour the coffee chaff and straw into the pot. Use your tongs to make sure the materials are completely submerged. Rip up the brown paper bag into the pot and use the tongs to submerge all the materials again.
Boil your material for 20 to 30 minutes. Once it has finished boiling, carefully strain your materials through a clean colander. Shake excess water out. Set aside to cool while you prep your work area.
Pour some of the rubbing alcohol onto some paper towels and use this to wipe down the surface of your work area and where you will be laying your pasteurized materials to cool. This will help to keep the growing material free of any new contaminants after you've pasteurized it.
Clean your hands with paper towel and alcohol before handling growing material. Empty the material that has been cooling in the colander onto the clean surface. Spread the material out using your hands into a thin layer so it can cool quickly.
Use the paper towels and rubbing alcohol in your kit to wipe down the inside surface of your bucket and hands. Wiping things with alcohol minimizes contamination. Just like we are pasteurizing the materials to minimize opportunities for contamination, we want to do the same with the bucket we will be growing the mushrooms in.
Before opening the bag of spawn, break up big clumps so that most of the spawn is soft and pliable. This sawdust spawn contains mycelium of the blue oyster mushrooms we are going to grow. Mycelium is the main structure of fungi. It grows in long, stringy, branching filaments similar to plant roots. Once we mix this up with the rest of our substrate, the mycelium will spread throughout it and develop big, beautiful mushrooms to eat. Mushrooms are the fruit of fungi. Just like an apple tree grows apples in order to pass on its seeds, mycelium grows mushrooms to pass on its spores. The spores form in or on the mushroom and then are dispersed by wind, rain, and other organisms.
Test the moisture content of your materials by squeezing with a clean hand. You should see no more than 3 drops drip out when you squeeze firmly. If there is more than that, let your material rest for a little longer until it passes the moisture test.
Add the growing materials that have now cooled into the bucket. Use the same paper towel to clean the knife or scissors you will use to open the spawn. Pour the entire bag of spawn into the bucket. Using your hands, mix up all the contents in the bucket until they are evenly mixed. Mixing all the ingredients thoroughly will allow the little pieces of mycelium, which we broke up before, to grow back together inside of the bucket. This ensures that the mycelium can grow rapidly and utilize all the nutrients in the substrate. Gently push down to compress the material. Close the lid firmly. Sometimes kneeling on the top can help secure the lid.
Rip the paper towels into squares big enough to generously cover the holes on the outside of the bucket. Rip off a few strips of tape and place the paper towel square over the hole. Place the tape around the outside edges of the square so that the paper towel is adhered to the bucket, covering the hole. Repeat this step for every hole. Make sure to label your bucket with the date, type of mushroom, and any other information you want to record. Keep your bucket somewhere in your house with temperatures between 55 to 70 degrees. In a warm environment, the process will be faster. In cold, it will be slower. Make sure to keep away from heating vents.
In around 5 to 7 days, you can open the bucket lid to check on your growth. You will likely see little white strands starting to form in and around the growing material. After 14 days, keep a close eye out for pins that will emerge through the filter patch. Pins are baby mushrooms forming. Once you see the pins forming, it's important to start watering. Use a spray bottle to mist the pins twice a day.
Mushrooms grow fast. You will see them go from the pinning stage to full maturity in just a couple of days. You will know the mushroom is at a good stage to harvest when it looks mature and the curved edge feels similar to the curve at the top of your ear. You can harvest at any stage, but the mushrooms tend to keep the longest if you harvest them at the stage described. Mushroom Shed is an experiential space for community mushroom education, an incubator for cultivating connections and community ideas, and for bringing people together in a non-hierarchical learning space. You can learn more by visiting mushroomshed.us or following us on Instagram @mushroomshed.